Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
I'm Alex.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are unveiling our initial projections for the 2026 NFL standings. So Jeff and I literally went game by game, matchup by matchup, week by week for every single team to pick a winner and a loser to come up with what records we think they'll have for 2026. So we will give you the rundown for that. But first, Jeff, what's the latest news around the league?
Man, there was a lot of speculation around the Dolphins trading running back Devon Achane, and they did not trade him, and they extended him with a 4-year contract extension. I believe he passed Breece Hall's contract value as well. So this actually puts a little pressure on the Lions and the Falcons to extend both Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson now. So we know what the bare floor is for those players going forward.
Do we?
You think they'll hit his value and exceed it? Because I do.
I like Achan. I even traded for him in 1 or 2 leagues. Don't like Rodgers.
Who's Rodgers?
Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood up in Pittsburgh, who just signed a final 1-year deal with the Steelers.
Look at you. He did. He announced 2026 will be his last year, and he will retire after this year. Very interesting that he did this after the schedule was released, which is always my opinion, is he wants to avoid as many primetime games as possible, so he signed the weekend after the schedule release.
Well, I think it's just what the ayahuasca told him to do. It's like, you can do one more year. The cave, the darkness, whatever his regimen is, his elusive wife named Brittany with an I, all factored in, I'm sure.
Funny. But what isn't funny is the Chiefs wide receiver, Rashee Rice, has been in the news twice this last week, and he had his knee cleaned up, which is going to take roughly 2 months to fully rehab, and he's going to have to do that first month in prison as he violated the terms of his agreement from his arrest last year. He was tested positive for THC, and he reports to a 30-day jail sentence that he will have to start rehabbing his knee in jail.
Throw the book at him, Jeff. Throw the whole book at him. Guy caused a major accident on a busy highway, speeding twice the speed limit, almost killed some people, got off extremely light, got 5 years of probation, and got to choose when to serve his 30 days of jail time, and can't even not smoke weed to get through the probation. Had to smoke weed, couldn't control himself, got drug tested, failed it. Now he has to serve 30 days at an inconvenient time when he needs to rehab, when he needs to be at the Chiefs facility. Like, I'm sick of this guy being a knucklehead. He's an absolute crazy knucklehead. I think they should just move on. I think he should get suspended. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. But you can't trust someone who can't stay out of trouble. Like, every year it's something with him. Every single year.
You're not wrong. I will say that it can work wonders for pain control, so it makes sense right after surgery that he would rather do that than an opioid. But again, it's against the terms of his release.
Was he 24? What does he need pain relief for? You're a young whippersnapper.
He just had knee operation. You don't think there's any pain from that? He's 26 actually, which is kind of old for him.
Okay, 26 versus 36. 36, it's a lot worse. 26, I mean, just get some red blood cells injected straight into the region. You'll be fine. Some platelets.
What if he got twice as good as sleep with it, though? Like, sleep equals recovery.
Well, I'm not a THC gentleman, and that's not for me.
I'm just saying.
It doesn't work for me.
This is not the THC podcast, but it lines up and makes sense of why he would have violated it during that time and not previously.
This is not the THC podcast, brought to you by gummies from our first sponsor of the day.
Absolutely. And the last bit of news here is a little more exciting. It's the Rams extending quarterback Matthew Stafford. He's now signed through 2027 this year and next year. And he's the reigning and defending NFL MVP going into this year.
Yeah, we'll see if he can force those touchdowns in the red zone to Devontae Adams this year. Just run the ball, man. You got 2 running backs. Hand them the ball. Anyway, I'm not like they're gonna just keep Stafford until he falls apart or retires. Even though they drafted Ty Simpson, they'll never play Ty Simpson.
Yeah, so yesterday while driving, and I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's relevant here. I was thinking about how Stafford is McVay's guy, and they drafted Simpson, but everyone was assuming they would be switching to Simpson soon, and I could see that's why McVay was upset and made it very clear that this is Stafford's team as long as he wants it. Because when you have a guy like Stafford that can throw the ball like that, like why would you ever want to hurry him out the door just to get to the next guy? Like you wouldn't want to. You want him to feel as welcome as long as he wants to feel welcome, as long as he has the ability. And he clearly has the throwing ability. He's never been a rusher, so he's going to age pretty gracefully in this league.
Like, again, if you're trying to get the next quarterback of the future, you have the 13th overall pick. Why not just trade out of it and continue to stack up future picks so you can use those picks when the time is right to trade up for a quarterback?
I mean, we both know they hate draft picks. This was their second first round pick in the whole Snead era, McVay era.
And they wasted it. They wasted it.
Absolutely. And if Stafford goes down and Simpson rocks it this year, we might be thinking differently. Could have had Jimmy G back. Rumor has it they still want Jimmy G back if he wants to continue to play.
I don't think Ty Simpson's remotely ready. I think Ty Simpson should have stayed in college another year or 2.
Now, the team that guaranteed him a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, that's because his dad and Snead are buddies.
Guaranteed him. All right. You ready to hop into the 2026 initial run for standings and playoff teams? Do you want to do the AFC East first, and then I'll do the AFC East?
Yeah, I was going to ask how we're going to do this. We're going to alternate divisions, like alternate AFC East, then switch it backwards, or just...
Yeah, we'll let you go. We'll let you go first for the AFC East, and then I'll do the AFC North first, and we'll rotate back and forth. We can do the seeds at the end of the conference, not during the standings release. So this just the standings to begin with.
Alrighty. Well, starting at 14 wins and 3 losses, the Buffalo Bills are in that division, leading that division. And then I have the Miami Dolphins going 2-15, the Patriots going 9-8, with a much harder schedule this year than last year, and not much improvement on the team from last year, from what I can tell. And then the Jets are also 2-15, right there with Miami.
I hear you on that. What did you have the Bills record at again?
14-3.
Oh man, you had planned them for a little bit of a downfall this year. At least that's how you've been talking offline. So that was a little bit interesting. I wanted to hear that.
If you just look at the names or the teams that they face, you would think so. But if you look at how their schedule lined up, they lined up pretty favorably for them to weather those teams.
Well, you also look at it from the perspective of they're opening a new stadium and they have 3 home games in a row to begin the year. Like that's a huge lift. Like that stadium is going to be bonkers for the first several weeks.
Well, I have them starting off at a loss. Josh Allen cannot beat D'Amico Ryans' Texans. Just can't do it.
D'Amico was on the field.
It's his defense, dude.
We'll see. We will see. New head coach this year. New head coach.
Well, it's the same coach that was offensive coordinator last year who can't beat D'Amico Ryans. So good luck. New defensive coordinator, though.
Absolutely. All right. So with my AFC East, I also agree with the Buffalo Bills at 14-3 and the Miami Dolphins at 2-15. I agree with the New England Patriots at 9-8, and I have the New York Jets going 3-14. So I have them with an extra win on you. So we are very, very, very close, but I do have the Bills winning week 1 at Houston because obviously the road game is a lot less valuable early on in the season. But we will get to what I think the Texans are in a little bit. We have
I'm anticipating a 7-10 record when Jeff gets to them.
I mean, a lot hinges on CJ Stroud, so to be fair.
Well, he sucked last year, and they still won, 11 games last year?
Well, they had Davis Mills for a quarter of the games last year.
They still have Davis Mills. What are you
Is he going to
talking
play
about?
a quarter of the games this year?
The offensive line got better. The defense got better. I mean, CJ Stroud is skinny and cut his hair. Surely he's going to be better.
Did Trevor Lawrence really cut his hair, or was that a...
No, he never cut his hair. He had it in like a net, like a really tight, compact net. He never cut it.
But the schedule release showed his hair being cut.
It wasn't true. Like
So
that was... No, he had it really compact. When you can see the net, like it made it look like it was cut. He never cut it.
Gotcha. I don't know. I saw some photos of him with like a short haircut, and I was like, dang, this dude would be like people would be all about Trevor Lawrence, but he's got all those hair commercials. I guess he can't cut his hair probably legally right now. Head and Shoulders would be very mad.
Did you finish up the rest of the division after Buffalo?
Yeah. I had the same for the first 3 and the Jets at 3-14.
So you had the Jets is better than Miami, huh?
Yep. Just the way the schedule is.
You are a skills position person, aren't you, Jeff? You're a weapons person. Like if the offense has weapons, you're gonna grade them higher than the team with a better defense or better offensive line or...
We are 1 win apart on the entire division. So I feel like we did a lot the same here.
But no, but I mean, but between the Jets and the Dolphins,
yeah,
right? What's that one extra win is because all the speed they have on offense, or what?
No, it's because the Jets play Cleveland at home, and I think they beat Cleveland, Miami, and Las Vegas at home. Because I don't think Las Vegas is a
Okay. You hate Vegas. You hate Vegas so much.
I mean, they signed a center. They signed Jalen Naylor. They acquired Max Crosby after losing Max Crosby. So, to me, the only thing that's changed is the coaching. And obviously, they got a whole new draft class coming in here, but usually that takes a little time to bake.
They replaced like their entire defense.
Okay. It's going to take some time.
Because they were losing Max Crosby, they signed a top edge in free agency, and then they got Max Crosby back. So now they have 2 really good edges and another guy for depth. Their offensive line is going to be stabilized because they had bookends, but their interior was what's weak. And now they have the top 2 center. They have one of the best running backs in the league, who now is not going to get hit the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage the most out of any running back, like he was last year, as well as Mike Washington. We don't know what the wide receivers are because they've never had a competent offensive coordinator, and they hired the best available offensive mind this offseason. So we'll find out more on what the talent level of the team is. Like, are they better than they have been the last 2 years and they've had poor coaching? Or do they need to add more to the weapons? Do they need to add more to the secondary? We'll find out more information. So I have them probably more wins than you, but I'm not super high either. I think they could beat the Jets. Like, I think they're better than the Jets.
Maybe.
I mean, that is the worst coach in the NFL is the Jets head coach.
Agreed. But you also have the Geno Smith factor of wanting to beat his old team.
You hate Geno Smith. You hate him.
I do, but Do you not think he'll have a little extra that week?
I don't think so.
I think he'll be more focused, but we will see. We will see if he is even still the starting quarterback at that point. That's week 8.
Yeah, he might not be.
Yeah.
After Cleveland and New England, he might get wrecked. So
Yep. And if you look at it from a scheduling standpoint, the Raiders go the Bills, the Rams, the Jets, the 49ers, the Seahawks. If
he'll
you
beat
look
all those
during
teams. No,
if
just
you
kidding.
look during that stretch, you don't think it's possible that they don't take that game as seriously?
Well, that might be their only win. So
Yeah. I mean, that's
they've
fair
got to
too.
really pound it.
That's fair too. But and it's on the East Coast at a 1:00 start, I believe. So that's 10:00 body time for them. And we will see if that makes any difference. But yeah, I know Seattle was one of the better road teams last year. So can Kubiak bring that over to the Raiders?
That's
All right.
it's very curious because I think that might be a fluke that they're so much better on the road than they used to be. But we'll
Right?
see.
Be a home team. Going into Seattle was impossible to win.
Yeah.
Impossible. But AFC North, let's hop over there. I have the Baltimore Ravens with a 10-7 record. So that's from 8-9 last year, so 2 more wins. I have the Cincinnati Bengals at 11-6 record, so that's 5 more wins than last year. I have Cleveland with the same record as the previous year, 5-12. And I have Pittsburgh flipping it to a 7-10 record from a 10-7 record last year.
Interesting. I have Baltimore at a 12-5 record. So I have Cincinnati with a 13-4 record. Caveat is based on those quarterbacks both remaining healthy for the entire year. Cleveland Browns I have at a 6-11 record, and Pittsburgh I have at an 8-9 record.
Dang. You are ending the Tomlin era streak there.
I think they're either going to be 9-8 or 8-9. Feel pretty good about that.
I will say Baltimore's pass catching core still isn't exciting for me. So other than Zay Flowers, who on that team are you excited for catching passes from Lamar
Mark
Jackson?
Andrews has been unleashed. There's no Isaiah Likely anymore.
He's
There's no
106
Kohler
years old
anymore.
I know.
He's the top tight end by himself.
I know. I understand that, and he's rated as such, but he's also on the older side right now of tight ends.
Also, they got Sarrett, who I like a lot. I think he's better than the guy they took 2 rounds ahead of him, and Jacoby Lane. They've got Bateman. Is this the year Bateman blows up? I don't know. Could this
Man,
be it?
I couldn't roll my eyes any harder on that one because I'm so sick of hearing that.
Like, he was a bust of a first round pick. Can we admit that he's a bust of a first round pick?
And they extended him.
Yeah.
Because they just couldn't foresee themselves admitting a mistake. Couldn't.
Has anyone ever thought maybe Lamar is the problem?
Lamar will be the problem if he doesn't get a contract extension because there is data out there that he does not play all the games when he has a contract dispute or if he wants a new contract.
They should have just when they franchise tagged him a while back, they should have just let him go to a team and just collected the picks.
Yep. Look at the haul that Deshaun Watson was granted. They could have ended up with that haul. But
Yep.
I also believe Joe Burrow should have started with a new team because I don't believe the Bengals do enough to support him, and I think he's oft injured. And yeah, I think the Bengals should have rebooted, but here
Texans are next year going to pull off a Stroud for Burrow trade, and all will be right in this world. So
there you go.
Don't you worry.
There you go. You can have Macaulay Culkin on your team. All right. Well, yeah, we're not too far off. The order's the same. You gave 2 more wins to both Baltimore and Cincinnati, 1 more win to Cleveland, 2 more wins to Pittsburgh. So I want to see where those wins eventually come from. So
I want to know who you have Cincinnati and Baltimore losing to. They've got pretty reasonable schedules here.
Yep, Baltimore's losing at Dallas.
Don't have that.
International Waters. I have them losing at Cleveland. I have them losing at Buffalo. I have them losing at Carolina, and I have them losing at Houston.
Man, at Carolina, I don't see it.
Okay.
Unless they're banged up. I mean, if they're banged up, I could see it. But
also, is Baltimore offensive juggernaut? I don't believe that they are. Henry's an extra year older. And they have Zay Flowers that I really trust in the pass core right now. Like, what scares you about that team right now? Is Lamar going to run? Is Lamar going to even play? Like, I might
Derrick
flip that
Henry
game later.
is a beast.
Okay. Is he still in your top
Lamar,
10 backs?
what a great question, Jeff.
I just need you to see you to put a.
I think he's a
But
better NFL player than fantasy player for me. I actually have Baltimore as the only AFC North team that's going to actually beat the Texans
in Houston,
in Houston. They've done
I
it
think that
before.
I think that's hard, but I hear you.
The only time the Texans have beat them is when Lamar Jackson's been hurt.
They have a crazy defense.
I think Baltimore, one thing you're not considering is Baltimore's defense is going to be better.
Yeah, but is their offense going to be worse?
I think a lot of teams are shifting to more rush heavy offenses, and I think they will. I think they'll control the time of possession. I think they'll be physical. I think Lamar still has really good rushing ability, and he still can throw across the middle of the field.
Absolutely. And then
Where I think
Cincinnati's
the Bengals, yes, go ahead.
I
Who
have
are
them
they going to lose?
losing. I have them losing at Houston, at Pittsburgh. They usually start the season a little bit slow. So two road games there back to back, or two games. At Baltimore they're losing. At Washington right now I have them losing. Monday night. That's going to be a very challenging game. I have them losing at Cleveland and at Indy right now.
I think with Washington, their pass rush is non-existent and their secondary is non-existent. So who's stopping Joe Burrow and Chase and Higgins from completely destroying Washington?
But who's stopping Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin from having a big game that week too?
I mean, Dexter Lawrence is going to wreck Washington's interior line. They've got tackles. Do they have guards in the center?
They've
I think
taken
they're one of
care
the
of
teams that doesn't really have a center.
they've taken care of him the 2 times a year the last 2 years.
It's the Giants. That's not the Bengals.
And the Bengals have nobody else on defense right now, in my opinion. They have one of the
Well,
worst defenses ever.
the Bengals have 5 edge rushers that
Good.
they either spent on in free agency or drafted. So they at least have a rotation. We'll see which of them actually can be good. But with a prominent interior piece, they might be more effective than they've ever been.
Yeah. What about
So,
their secondary though?
I
And
mean,
their linebacker?
why do you need a secondary when you're going to get to the quarterback real fast?
Just bomb it.
I think their secondary's okay. And I definitely think that they should have focused on that too. But I think Washington's just not good. I think they had a very lucky, fortunate year that first year with Jaden Daniels, and I don't think the rest of the roster is quite where it needs to be.
And that was Cliff Kingsbury, right? That was one of his 2 years there, which he usually does good in year one. So I feel like that's explainable from that perspective
Yeah.
too. So I think
Yes.
that you're right. I think Dan Quinn being the head coach and not having any consistency for Jaden Daniels and focusing on the offense has been a big downfall for him. But
Yeah.
all right, you ready to hop over to your division, the AFC South?
Sure. I have the Texans going 13-4. I think they could potentially lose one of their first 2 weeks, but I currently have them winning because home field and historical reasons. Um, I have the Indianapolis Colts sinking into the abyss with a 4-13 record. I don't think Daniel Jones and his Achilles is going to be ready to go right off the bat. They have a very difficult start the first 3 weeks. They might get warmer as the season goes on, but Daniel Jones has struggled to stay healthy, even when he does get close to 100%. And their backup options are not better. This is a team that had to pull 49-year-old Philip Rivers off the couch to come and quarterback for them, and that didn't go well either. So,
That was very fun though.
and they overpaid. They overpaid Alec Pierce, and they traded away for almost nothing their best wide receiver in Pittman to the Steelers. So
Don't disagree.
I don't. Yeah, and their defense is a mess. Their defense is a complete travesty. So I just can't see them getting maybe over 6 or 7 wins this year. I have them currently at 4. I have Jacksonville at 11-6. They're going to have a harder schedule this year than they did last year, and they're not better, in my opinion, than they were last year. They let their running back go in free agency, and I still don't think their defense has changed from last year. They could use pass rush, and I don't think that they have it. I think they're weak at corner, but they're extremely loaded at wide receiver, so good for them. The Titans, I have at 5-12. I think this is a team that should continue to get better each year. That Salah and Dable stay together. I think Ward will surprise people in fantasy and the real NFL. They've just got a really tough schedule for a fourth place team from last year, but they will be finishing third based off these standings in this division.
We will, yeah, they're definitely gonna improve, but let me start from the top because you are very curious to see what I do with the Houston Texans. And I have them doing a 10-7 record. So not 7-10 like you said, but 10-7. I have the Colts doing a 7-10 record. So 3 more wins than you gave them, 3 less wins for the Texans. I have the Jaguars doing a 10-7 record, so 1 less win than you have.
Interesting.
So, yep. And I have the Titans doing 1 more win than you at a 6-11 record. So they double their win total from last year. They're going to be that one team that doubles their win total from the previous year. And that's all sparked by the fact that they played the Jets and the Giants in the first 3 weeks. And Dable and Salah, even though that they downplay it, they're still going to circle those weeks and give it a little bit extra focus to prove to their ownership, the previous ownership, that they made the wrong decision.
Well, I definitely think they'll beat the Jets. The Giants.
That's our one difference then.
I can see it go either way. I really
You
can.
you can't see Dable wanting to stick it to Dart in that organization. Like if anyone could stop Dart, it's him. Like he could provide the recipe for that.
I just don't know if the Titans are good enough to win that game on the road.
We will see.
Like I think it's a coin flip because we don't know what the Giants are yet.
Nope.
Like I have a much better idea of what the Titans are with the new coaching change than what the Giants are.
I don't like the mix of the Giants. I don't like Matt Nagy, and I don't like the GM. Like I don't like the mix of that team. That team feels very weird right now.
Yeah, I think the Giants on paper are more talented than the Titans, but I think the Titans have better coaches. I like Harbaugh, but like you, I do not like Nagy. I'm not super crazy about the defensive coordinator they have, and I think their GM's the worst GM in football, and he just got an extension. So I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing? What are the Giants? I don't.
We're doing a whole bunch of new, but a lot more of the same old. So it's like a hybrid model. But we're pretty close in the division, and we have the top 2 division leaders the same, and the Titans even remotely the same, and the Indy's the one that's pretty far apart. But
so
obviously,
who's winning the division if the Texans and Jaguars are both 10-7?
You want me to spoil my seeding this early? I have the Texans winning the division. Due to the strength of schedule tiebreaker, because they both end with the same division record, and therefore it will require the strength of schedule and probably even common opponents to go into effect.
All right. So now your AFC West.
AFC West. I have the Denver Broncos taking a little bit of a downfall, going 10-7. I think the division has improved. I think the AFC in general has improved, and I think they play a first place schedule, a harder schedule this year as well. I have the Chiefs going 11-6. I have the Raiders going 4-13, and I have the Chargers going 10-7.
You had the Chiefs at what?
Chiefs are at 11-6.
I don't know if I could just put them back into the fold that easily. I have the Broncos at 12-5, easily winning their division. I have the Chiefs at 9-8 because I think that they'll have an awkward, slow start and then pick up as the year goes on, but it'll be too late. I have Vegas at 6-11, which I think is fair and would show growth. And I have the Chargers at 10-7 because
We agree on the Chargers.
their schedule is weirdly more difficult, especially with Kansas City maybe being better than they were last year, and Vegas being better than they were last year. So they still make the playoffs, though, and Kansas City does not.
Oh, spoiler. Yeah, I think you're a little bit higher on the Raiders than deserves to be right now, but they do double the win total, and at least one team typically does that a year. I have the Titans and you have the Raiders. The Chiefs have an oddly easy beginning to the schedule after the Broncos game, which is on the road, which isn't a big deal, or is at home on Monday night, so they should get a boost there. Then they have Sunday night at home, which they should get a boost there. Then they're at Miami, at Vegas, by Chargers at home. So they've got 5 winnable matchups to begin the year, as long as they have a reasonably good quarterback play. So just my opinion on that, but pretty cool. What was I going to say here? The Broncos. That's an interesting one that we're going to disagree on. I think the one win that we have swapped on this here is that week 1 game where you probably have the Broncos winning and I have the Chiefs winning. I'm going to be pretty consistent through week 1 as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing in week 1 in any shape or form, because you also have Bo Nix returning from a pretty severe broken ankle that also required a second surgery recently. Then I bet you week 2 you have Jacksonville losing to the Broncos in Mile High, and they marched into Mile High last year and beat them.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen again.
You told me that last year.
Yeah,
I pounded the table on that one, and then you weren't listening.
I don't think Jacksonville is that good. I think that was a fluke, and I think Denver's defensive coordinator handled that the worst you could possibly handle it.
What's funny about that, though, is that you thought they were a fluke last year, and I was pounding the table that game was easily Jacksonville's, and you were like, no way. It's in Mile High.
Jacksonville is a fraud. Like, they're good enough that they're probably going to make the playoffs.
Let's go back to last year's team.
Well, it's just like the Chargers every year. The Chargers will make the playoffs and then get eliminated week 1. Jaguars are the same. Denver's a better team, built for playoffs. But Denver's schedule, they get extremely lucky. They get at Kansas City week 1 because Mahomes might not even play this game, and if he does, he'll be severely limited. I think that's a huge advantage for Denver. Then they get Jacksonville and the Los Angeles Rams at home, which you'd much rather play them at home than go away. They play San Francisco away. San Francisco is a team that they'll probably lose to, but is much easier to face them away than the Rams, because the Rams are, to me, a better team. Then they go to the Chargers away, which I think can go either way, because I don't think the Chargers are an unbeatable team. They get Seattle at home, away at Arizona. They get Kansas City at home, away at Carolina, bye, home against the Raiders, away at Pittsburgh, which I don't think Pittsburgh is anything to write home about, but I have them losing. Home against Miami, away at the Jets, away at the Raiders, home against Buffalo, away at New England, which I think they can win, and then home at with the Chargers. So it's a very doable schedule. I think they could get more wins than this. I think maybe they could have one or two less wins than this, but I think that they're making the playoffs regardless.
Perhaps. The one game that could flip that for me is that first week game that we were talking about, if they do upset the Chiefs, because I think it would be an upset. If they can beat Vegas on the road in week 15, I think that would be one of the things that they would circle to get them into the playoffs. But I see them losing to the Bills, because I could see the Bills having that game scheduled or circled for a road game. And I see them beating New England, because I could see the Broncos having that circled because they lost with a backup quarterback against New England in the playoffs last year, and they want to probably embarrass them at week 16 in New England. So I very well see that happening, and then they end at home against the Chargers, so that's pretty easy as well. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a wild card spot for the Chargers and the Broncos, and that's kind of where I'm at. But if you want to go ahead with your seeding for the AFC, we can.
NFC East, or no, just the whole seeding for AFC.
Yeah, I want to know who your 1 through 7 is here.
All right, my number 1 is the Bills. My number 2 is the Texans.
Okay.
3 is Cincinnati, and 4 is Denver.
Okay. And your wild
So
cards.
wild card is Ravens, followed by Jacksonville, and then ending with the Chargers.
Okay. So what's that give you? That gives you 2 new playoff teams so far with Cincinnati and Baltimore. So you're pulling out the Patriots and the
Steelers.
Well, we have a lot of the similar playoff teams, but my 1 seed is the Buffalo Bills. Number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3 is the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 4 is the Houston Texans. Number 5 is Jacksonville, which would be a crazy good playoff game between Houston and Jacksonville to open up the playoffs. The NFL would take that game 10 times out of 10, a divisional matchup to open it. Number 6 seed is the Chargers, so that would mean the Chargers versus the Bengals to open up round 1, which would be a pretty good game as well, Burrow versus Herbert, in theory. And then number 7 is the Ravens, which would give the Ravens versus the Chiefs. So you'd get Lamar versus Mahomes in round 1. So those are big-time playoff quarterback matchups, at least.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Kansas City makes the playoffs.
Why? If you flip all their 1-score games last year, they went like 14-3. So like that'll pendulum back.
Their most significant changes are they got rid of their almost entire secondary and got a top corner prospect, in my opinion, and they signed a running back in free agency. Like those are the 2 biggest changes that they've made, and I don't know if Mahomes' health, and I think the rest of their divisions got better than they did. So
if anyone could make it back quick, it's Mahomes.
I think that they need to acquire a wide receiver, and they haven't.
There's still 3 good ones out there. You still got Debo and Diggs and Hill out there, veterans that could sign for relatively cheap.
We'll see.
So,
all right,
if they signed Diggs or if they traded for AJ Brown next week, what do you believe that would impact them?
Depends on what they traded.
Picks for next year, which don't matter for this year.
Well, what if they traded Worthy for Brown?
Well, they're not going to trade their one receiver that has chemistry with Mahomes that is definitely starting week 1. That's a fantasy trade. I don't see a receiver. Like, how does Worthy help the Eagles that are so receiver heavy right now?
He fits in
with
as
Dobbs
a Devonta Smith clone, so they have
Wicks.
2 Devonta Smiths.
Yeah. They have Wicks and Smith and Lemon and Marquise Brown and a few other guys that they signed that I actually like too. So and Hurts is not that good. Hurts is not a distributor of the ball on any level like that. But I think our biggest disagreement so far is the Broncos and where they end up this year. So I don't have them making the playoffs. I have them being the first team out. So that first week sounds like it'll be important because if I swapped it in my standings, it makes the Broncos the Division 2 winner. So that makes them the 2 seed, and it makes the Broncos the 5th seed, and it makes the Ravens miss the playoff if I swap that first week. That's how big that first week is. Let me hit the undo button because I don't want to save it like that. Like I have it how I want it.
All right. We ready for the NFC?
Let's nail it out. Do you want me to start the NFC here?
Sure.
All right. I got the Dallas Cowboys going 10-7. I got the New York Giants going 6-11, so 2 more wins from last year. I got the Philadelphia Eagles going 10-7, 1 less win than last year, and I have the Washington Commanders going 7-10, so 2 more wins than last year. What do you have?
I have the Cowboys with a generous 9-8 record. which I think based off of opponents, it should have been lower, but how their schedule flexed out for them, they'll actually have a winning record. Giants, I have 8-9.
Whoa.
If I switched the Tennessee game, then they'd be 7-10, which I think is still about right between one of those two. Philadelphia, I have at 12-5. They have quite the nice schedule, even if they have problems with their coaching staff and their quarterback and just about everything else. The overall talent is ridiculous. And I have Washington at 5-12 because I don't believe in their head coach. I don't think their defense is where it needs to be. I don't think their offense is where it needs to be. I don't like it. I mean, I like Jaden Daniels. Who's their starting running back? We don't even know. Who's going to be the number 2 wide receiver? We don't know. Is their offensive line better than it was last year? I don't think so. I think it's the exact same offensive line. So I don't see how they could go back to rookie year Jalen Daniels' success. I think that was a crazy fluke. We'll see.
Yeah, and I have them going 7-10, so it's only 2 more wins than you. It's not a big jump. It's not like they're gonna get a winning record or bounce back or anything like that. They still have a losing record. Cowboys were 1 win off. Eagles were 2 wins off. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Giants, and I think I figured out the 2 wins that you had different. And
Tennessee
I
is one of
believe,
them.
yep, and I believe you have them beating Dallas week 1.
Yes.
And I have that flip flop, and that's our one difference with Dallas. Because on the road, week 1, I think Dallas is going to be much more put together than the Giants will be, because I think the Giants will be figuring out what Dart and Harbaugh and Nagy all look like. But that offense of the Dallas is going to be fully locked in for game 1. And I don't think Dart can keep up with them.
I think Harbaugh, we've seen it before. New head coaching hires win their week 1 matchups. It just happens all the time. So I think New York being a rival of Dallas, I think Dallas is very beatable. They're at home. I think they're going to make a statement, win, and then I think the Giants' early schedule is very favorable. So they're going to start off 4-2, and everyone's going to be like, "Are the Giants a playoff team? Are the Giants a playoff team this year?" And then middle of the season, they're going to crumble a little bit. So I think that their schedule is just good enough to get them to hint at playoffs, but they're not there yet. They've still got work to do.
Yeah, I think their defense has improved too, though, from the last year and a half.
For sure.
So I don't think the Giants will be able to run the football on Dallas. So making Dart one-dimensional will be the end of him.
I think that Dallas's run defense has definitely gotten better, but it's not Dart. It's, the frat boy, what's his face?
Scatterboo.
Scataboo.
Yeah.
He's gonna scatabat all around the Dallas for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be, surprisingly enough, I think it'll be through the air victory with the Giants, because Dallas' secondary is terrible.
We will see. But I would be shocked on Sunday night. That is the perfect time to put Dallas in New York week 1 Sunday night, because of the debate that we're already having on this game. We're already having a debate on the Monday night game between Denver and Kansas City too. Like, NFL did.
It is the best week 1 schedule I've probably ever seen.
Exactly. They nailed the schedule, especially for like holidays and stuff like that. They nailed it.
The only thing they didn't nail was the travel disparity, but
Yep.
And apparently the rest disparity is out of control this year compared to previous years as well. There are several teams that have a significant advantage in rest days compared to several teams that have the worst disadvantages in rest days.
We should monitor that. We should see what teams do with 5 days rest, 6 days rest, 7 days rest, 8 days rest.
Did see that just some teams just play a lot of teams coming off their bye. And that that contributes. But I've also seen that sometimes that's not necessarily an advantage for the team coming off the bye because they
And
get a
that's a
little
problem.
complacent and fat and eat some Cheetos on their couch for the week and aren't ready to go. So we'll
I think it depends on how strict of a coach that you have. Like I could see like a Sean Payton doing better off the bye, or an like a veteran coach.
yeah.
More lax new age coaches like a Mike McDaniel and stuff like that. I could see them doing worse off of a bye.
Yes. 100%.
So, but I do think there's a lot more stricter coaches out there than we believe now, even the new age ones. I think Kubiak will be strict. I think Harbaugh's strict. He's a newer coach back in the NFL. I think Dan Campbell is strict.
I think everyone should find your local news reporter and go on a week-long vacation with them during their bye week. That's what I think.
Okay. All right.
Or national reporter, even, if you will.
I knew you were going to go there. All right.
All right. NFC North, I'm starting off here. I've got Chicago at a 10-7 record. They're going to have a harder schedule this year than last year. Got Detroit at a 12-5 record, winning this division. I have Green Bay at 11-6 and the Minnesota Vikings at 8-9. I just don't think the Vikings are good enough.
Okay. Absolutely. So we'll hop over to my side of the house here, and we are almost identical in this division. I have the Bears going 10-7 also. I have the Lions with one more win than you with 13-4. I have the Packers at a 10-6 record, and I have the Vikings at a 8-9 record. So I also have them.
Wow. So you just moved one game from Green Bay to Detroit, basically.
No, we're both 11-6.
Oh, I thought you had Green Bay at 10-7.
No, I have them at 11-6, but I only have the Lions losing to Buffalo in Buffalo. I have them losing to Minnesota and at Chicago and at Green Bay. That's it.
Well, you'll like this. My extra loss is at Carolina. That's an outdoor game. Goff doesn't do outdoor games.
I know, but I think they could run Gibbs and Pacheco down Carolina's throat.
I don't think so, honestly. I think Carolina's front line is a little bit better than people give it credit for.
True, they did upgrade this year. It's at Carol. I do have them winning at Carolina. Dang, that could be the one game that switches. Let me see what happens if I switch that game, just for giggles. All right, it does change the playoffs a little bit. It does. Wow, it moves Carolina into a playoff spot. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Yep, interesting.
Well, you get to lead straight into it because that's the next division.
Yeah, it's just interesting if you change one game what it does to the standings. Like, it's that close, and we love that about the NFL. But yeah, let's hop right into the NFC South. And I have Atlanta going 4-13. I have Carolina going 8-9. I have the Saints going 9-8, and I have the Bucks winning the division at 9-8.
I also have Atlanta at 4-13. I feel a little bit bad about that, but I just don't see where their extra wins are coming from, right?
Bingo.
I have Carolina at 6-11.
Do you feel
I
good about
have
that one?
You think they could be like an 8-9 team again? I just don't know which games to flip. I have New Orleans at 7-10. I also think they could be 8-9 or 9-8 potential team. But again, depends on how the season goes, how injuries get picked up, teams deflate, whatever, what switches as we go on. And Tampa, I have winning the division at actually achieving 8-9. So again, a losing record from this division, which is nothing new historically for this division. But these teams are relatively comparable. And I'll have you know, I have the Carolina Panthers with the best division record with 4-2, but still only getting 6-11 because they won last year, so they've got the toughest schedule. They've got the division winner schedule.
They do. Funny enough, a team coming up in the West I have having the hardest schedule this year and the easiest schedule I have with the Bengals, which would be pretty low if the Bengals did it. But yeah, so we are pretty close. The Carolina one is the most glaring difference, but yeah, you hate the NFC South here.
I don't hate them. They're just all mediocre and have tough schedules.
They do have tough schedules. I think they play the AFC North, which can be difficult, and they play the NFC North as well. So they play like the Bears and the Lions and the Tigers. Oh my.
All right, Dorothy, watch out.
Gotta throw a little pop culture reference in every week. I think there's probably a hidden pop culture reference.
Is it pop culture or is it ancient history?
Wow. Ancient pop culture. All right, roll into your NFC West here.
Or as I would say, popped culture, because it's in the past tense.
Got it. So do you call it popcorn even if it's already popped, or do you call it popped corn?
Well, you say popcorn now, but the original was popped corn. But nobody says popped corn. Everyone just shortened it to popcorn. It's like what we call football was once called rugby football club. And we took off the rugby part, made it football club, and then we cut off the club part and just made it football. Even though it should be called pigskin or gridiron, something different than what other people call football, which we call soccer. You should differentiate it. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
And we name it NGL. Code for that is not gonna lie. People will be like, are you talking about the NFL or are you saying not gonna lie?
Gridiron. Well, NPL.
NPR.
National Pigskin League. What?
Yep. All right. What do you have for the NFC West? Last division.
They're all 0-17.
Boom.
Can't even win against themselves. Can't even tie it. Anyway, I have Arizona at 1-16.
Dang.
I felt generous giving them a 1. The Los Angeles Lambs or Rams or Lambs or Rams. I have at 13-4, and the San Francisco 49ers with the worst travel still get an 11-6 record. The Seattle Seahawks have a Super Bowl hangover a little bit at 11-6 as well.
All right. So for me, I have the Arizona Cardinals going 3-14. So I really did struggle to get them the extra wins. I have them going 0-11 to start the year. And then I have them picking up their first win at home against Washington. I have them picking up their second win at home against the Jets. And I have them picking up their third win at home versus the Raiders. So we could get Carson Beck versus Mendoza week 17. I think that is a distinct possibility at this point, actually.
And
then
the differences here seem to be you favor the team with the better weapons rather than defense, offensive line.
I don't think the Jets have a better defense than the Cardinals, though, at this point. I think the Cardinals actually have a very underrated defense.
I'm talking about Vegas.
I think they're better than the Raiders in a lot of aspects as well, too. I think I would trust Jacoby Brissett over Kirk Cousins right now.
I wouldn't. They're pretty close to the same, but I still like Cousins more. And then Mendoza is like no drop off from Cousins, whereas Beck probably is a drop off from Brissett. But you got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Wilson and McBride compared to only Bowers. Running backs are about the same. So I think you favor weapons, whereas I think Vegas' defense is better. And offensive line probably a smidgen better.
I don't think you can argue, though, that if Beck and Mendoza both go into their team games this year, that Beck has the better weaponry around him to succeed versus what Mendoza has.
That's what I'm saying. I really do think that you favor the offensive firepower more than anything else.
Probably, but I think that Beck is more set up for success due to that.
I don't think you can say going to Arizona sets you up for any kind of success, but
it's fair. But I'm looking at Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison and Love and McBride versus just Bowers that I really trust on the Raiders.
They need offensive line desperately. I like the trenches a lot.
I understand, but when a new coach comes in and a new offensive line coach come in and new scheme comes in, you just don't know what you had and what they're going to perform with either on the new scheme. So schemes can change a whole bunch of offensive line things that we don't look at either, not just bring in new personnel.
I've seen what Kubiak did with Seattle's offensive line, and Seattle's offensive line was far from perfect, but it was good enough with him running that scheme. And he's bringing that scheme to Vegas, which I think will maximize what's currently there. And I do think they need to add further. But that's to me why I like Vegas a couple wins over what you have.
Yeah. I think it's a mistake that Vegas has the Cardinals underdogs to the Jets at home in week 15, I think it is. I think that's
It's going to be interesting to see those three teams: Cardinals, Jets, Raiders, and even throw in Miami to that equation as well. Because I would contest Vegas is the better team of those four, but I would also contest if there was a better coach or better quarterback for the Cardinals would be the best one.
Definitely noted there. So what do we have for the rest of the division?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we spent a lot of time on a team that we both agree is going to severely miss the playoffs.
I think they're going to be the 101 in the draft. Yeah.
They're in contention for 101. I actually have them at third pick behind the Jets and the Dolphins right now. They are my third pick, the Cardinals, but they should still be able to get a quarterback there.
All right. So who do you have? What do you have for the Rams?
I have 12-5. So we are one win off there, and I can figure out what the one win is when we get to it a little bit later. I have 49ers at the exact same 11-6, and I have the Seahawks at a 12-5 record. So that's probably our one difference there is there's a Seahawks flip-flop.
And you know what's crazy? I have the 49ers with a 5-1 division record.
I have them 4-2.
I have the Seahawks with a 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the Rams with 3-3 record, but the Rams have the best out of division record, which got
So
them
you have the Rams losing to Seattle twice, then I'm assuming, or losing to San Francisco twice.
Yeah, I would say losing to San Francisco twice is probably.
I mean, that's one of the games that could flip-flop that first game in Australia, but I just believe in Stafford so much over Purdy.
I just think Shanahan is so pissed about that game that they're going to bring the hammer.
Maybe, but the Rams gave up a home game in that.
Rams don't have home games. There's no fans in LA. LA is a Dodgers and Lakers town. There's no football fans there.
I actually have them losing to the Chargers in week 8, the Rams, because it's technically a double home game. So, like, the Chargers kind of get a 10th home game this year.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Chargers should have been up for an international game, and they are not having any international games this year.
What's great about the two LA teams playing in the same stadium, you can wear the same colors. Nobody will know what team you're supporting. You just wear yellow and blue.
That is fair.
How are they going to get in fights? Are they going to get fights with their own fans thinking that they're the opposite fans? Do they support both teams? I don't know. I wish the Chargers went back to San Diego. But you know what?
That stadium is
I think the 49ers should go to San Diego. I think the Chargers should go to San Francisco because of the electrical station.
God.
But
you ready to do my playoff teams for the NFC?
Let's do it.
All right. Coming in at the home field advantage, number 1 seed is the Detroit Lions. So they get a first round bye, the 1 seed. Number 2 is the Los Angeles Rams. Number 3 is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's my division winners. Number 5 is the Seattle Seahawks. And number 6 is the Green Bay Packers. And the last wild card goes to the San Francisco 49ers at the 7th seed.
I think we are awfully similar here. So my home field, though, number 1 is the Rams. My number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. My number trace is the Detroit Lions. 4 is also Tampa Bay. 5 is the San Francisco 49ers. 6 is the Green Bay Packers. And 7 is the Seattle Seahawks.
Interesting that we have the Super Bowl loser not making the playoffs this year. Both of us, the Patriots, and we have the Super Bowl winner being the fifth to be on the wild card. So
Well,
all interesting.
we both talk about Super Bowl hangovers a lot, and we both talk about how easy New England's schedule was last year, and then you add in the Vrabel and the national reporter scenario on top of that, and how we both feel the team hasn't changed that much over the offseason.
They're adding AJ Brown
So
next week, homie.
I don't think that's going to make that much of a difference. Do you?
No, but I was trying to talk him up a little bit.
I think if what depends on the trade package. If they trade a first round pick, it's a waste, utter waste. They might as well do anything else. They might as well sign Tyreek Hill and put him on their bench. That would be better than trading for AJ Brown with a first.
AJ Brown with first, right? Well, that's our first run at projections. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, so that for me would make Philly play Seattle. So we got a Bird Bowl. Can't forget
Bird
about
Bowl.
those. Would make Detroit play Green Bay, which would be a nice week one. And then Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. No, I'm just kidding. No, Tampa Bay and the 49ers. So two different Bay teams playing each other. That would be fun. Both kind of the same colors.
Yes, sir. That is going to be a very fun schedule to talk about. Week by week this year is going to be a very fun schedule to talk about. Even the holiday games, I'm a little excited for too. I know the local Bills have a lot of primetime holiday games, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like new stadium.
I think, Jeff, we should keep our records and seeds as a chart and have this is what we did in May. And then whenever we do the next one, we also add it there. And then what? We do 3? Is it 3? No, we do May.
We do 2 and then the weekly, September.
Yes. Okay. So that would be
I
interesting.
keep track of those.
But if we put it all here, like the records, if we put it all in a chart, just the records, not necessarily all the weekly, it'd be interesting to see which one's most accurate that way.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that more than does it for this week's episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all for downloading and listening to this episode, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Bye, everybody.